I'm Christy with Skills Lab, and I want to thank Stephanie Thomas. She's with the University of Arkansas and is a mom herself. And so we're going to talk about some things all volunteering and networking today. And so I want to just thank her for joining us.
Thanks, Christy. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, why don't you start by just introducing yourself, telling us a bit about who you are, what you do, and then some of your volunteerism things and how you got involved in that.
So I am a supply chain management professor at the University of Arkansas. I've been here a little over 3 years. I was at Texas Tech University, also in the business college there for 4 years. And before I was in academia, I worked in logistics and supply chain and sourcing roles at Stanley Tools, IBM, and Lowe's. Took some time off to be a mom. At the same time, my husband was working on his doctorate so that he could become a professor. And I thought, wow, he's got a pretty good gig. Maybe I should try this too. And so then I ended up getting on my doctorate. And so we're both actually in the same department in the Walton College as well.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned expanding your networks, and I think that that's another advantage of volunteering is growing those connections in the community and getting those different experiences. Do you have any examples or things where you've seen that expanded network has really benefited, whether it be you or people that you know? Or
I'm a huge proponent of networking in any form, shape, size, fashion. Whatever my students hear it from me all the time is I take any opportunity you have to go meet people because you just never know where those connections are going to lead. And so this kind of moves away from the strictly just volunteering side of things. But I don't think you can ever underestimate the power of a good network. And there's a book called The Defining Decade by a lady named Meg Jay that I recommend very often to a lot of my college students. And the subtitle is, basically how to make the most out of your 20s. And one of the things that she really talks about is this idea of the power of the weak ties. And so that the people that you're really close to in your inner circle, that your big life opportunities are probably not going to come within that group. It's people that you meet tangentially that are going to be the ones that help you get that first job break, or you find out about a scholarship opportunity or a student group to be involved with, or whatever it is, comes from those kind of weak ties. And I feel like a lot of networking events, even if you meet one person, that's a success. And then you never know when that one person is going to come back and pay it forward. And I think as students to understand that a lot of times people just want to help and they want to foster and support young people. We all look back and go, oh, I remember when I was that age and I wish I'd known then what I know now and stuff. So if you have an opportunity to give back and invest in somebody else, that feels good too. So that's kind of like a part of, adult volunteering is investing in the next generation. And so don't ever, I think there's this, well, did they really mean it if they said to call or email me or, whatever? And I'm like, if somebody said, please reach out and send me your resume or whatever, you do it. Like, don't question, did they mean it or not? If they didn't mean it, they wouldn't have said it. Nobody has to do it. And you never know where those paths will lead. And so volunteering is a great way to meet other people, just getting involved in organizations. I know on college campuses, there's a wide variety of organizations. Pretty much anything you could be interested in, there's probably some type of student organization. And those are great places to plug in and meet other people, and then meet those ripple effects and those weak ties that can lead you to, maybe it's another organization, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a class you didn't know you wanted to take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. While we're on that topic of networking, and I totally agree with you that oftentimes it's so flattering actually to reach back out to those people who said, yes, call me, email me, I'll be happy to help you. They kind of are very flattered when you do reach back out,
Sure.
or even as a professor, when you have a student that reaches back out for assistance or help. So oftentimes you're right, they do really mean it. And they are very happy to help. It's not just a passing thing. It's usually very genuine. So, but on that topic of networking, do you see the value in building those networks even while you're in high school? Because many times those networks are within your friend circles, but you think beyond that about your friends' parents and the networks that they often are for you in the future years. So maybe you want to talk a bit about that.
Sure. I think friends' parents are a great example. Another great example is your teachers. They have networks and stuff too, and they have contacts a variety of places that, find one or two teachers in high school that you really connect with. When you get into college, find a couple professors that you really connect with and build those relationships, because a lot of those people have a lot of connections. And anytime I can try to help a student find an internship, or maybe they're moving somewhere and they don't know anybody and I know somebody there and I can make a connection, I love doing that. And I know I'm not, alone in that. And it's, but you have to have those created those connections to have them to even call upon. But I, I've had a lot of students that'll look for summer internships while they're in college. And I'll sit down and say, make a list of everybody that you know and what company that you know that they work with. And do they work in a position or an area of the company maybe you'd be interested in working for, or whatever organization. And then they start listing and finding out that some of those friends from high school and stuff of, wow, I never thought about Mrs. Smith or whatever. And they'll go home on a holiday break and meet them for coffee. And next thing you know, they come back the next semester and they're like, oh, by the way, reaching out to Mrs. Jones, she's given me an internship for the summer. And so those things very organically can happen. It doesn't have to be always a very rigid process to get you to your next opportunity. It does take you stepping out. And I think that's the hard part sometimes. It does take you showing up at some event that you don't know if you're going to know anybody or not. It does take you stepping forward and putting out your hand and saying, hi, my name is. And that can be really scary the first 3 or 4 times.
Mhm.
Then after that, you go, okay, I'm a little nervous and I may not like it, but it gets easier. And the more you challenge yourself in those situations, you're going to just continue to grow that network. And I realize sometimes in high school, you're not thinking that far of ahead, but the people that kind of start thinking there are the ones a lot of times that are going to early on kind of have a leg up maybe over some other people.
Mhm.
And I know you mentioned like shadow days and things like that. I think as high school students, uh, if you can go follow somebody around an office or a manufacturing plant, or wherever it is, for even if it's a couple hours or something, you're going to learn a lot just by exposure of to what's an office like scenario feel like. What does that space feel like? And sometimes is it a bunch of cubicles and everybody's kind of out in an open air thing, or is everybody shut up into offices, and which appeals to you more and stuff? That'll help you also kind of go, maybe what kind of company do I want to work with, or what type of environment would I feel most comfortable in? I like really loud environments and I want to really engage with people. So I would like to find a company like that, versus I kind of like to do my analysis and run reports on my computer. So I'd prefer to do something where I'm a little more like spending, people walk you around an office. They're happy to do that for, an hour or two and answer some questions. And again, it goes back to just taking advantage of those opportunities.
Well, and often those experiences lead you to understand, what your interests are, how you utilize those interests to benefit either other people or a company, and then what you don't enjoy doing. And hey, I actually tried that and I thought I would like it, but that did not work out. And I could not envision doing that 40 hours a week. And volunteering, you can volunteer your time running data analytics for nonprofits. You can also volunteer your time swinging a hammer and building a house. So those are very different experiences that you're getting. From your perspective, with your children, have you seen that they've had some experiences and said, that is not what I enjoy, and they've been able to kind of narrow down, knock some things off the list, and then focus in different directions of what they do enjoy doing?
I think there's some of that. I don't know that we've overtly talked about it as much, but I think I can step back and watch and go, I have one child that maybe thrives in situations where there's a lot of people and it can be chaos and they love being in the middle of it. And so if you're in some type of volunteering environment that's just everybody's all over the place and it's just mass chaos, but everybody's working towards a goal, that they'll love that type of environment. Whereas, I have another one that would prefer to try to have some type of one-on-one interaction with an individual and maybe have a deeper kind of connection out of the experience than kind of the party atmosphere. And part of that is just differences in personalities. But I think it's one of the fun things about volunteering, because you can just try something once and then try something else, is putting yourself in a variety of different situations to just see and say,
Yeah.
you know what, I haven't tried something like that. And again, to your point, maybe I don't want to do it again a lot, but you know what? It was good for me to do X, and I learned about that. I was glad you mentioned the learning what you don't like as much, because I know I've had students that will have done summer internships while they're in college, and they'll come back and go, "Oh, I hated it. It was terrible. I don't ever want to do that." And I was like, that is every bit as valuable
Yes.
as finding something that you loved, because in reality, this whole process of moving through high school and then whatever you choose to do after high school, it's a funnel. And what I think is good is to try to start broad and explore a lot of different things, and then just go along and find what you like and what you don't like, and you just constantly narrow down till hopefully you find what ends up being a good fit for you.
Yeah.